The new owners of Pittsburgh's August Wilson Center are aiming to reopen the Center for African American Culture this spring. 3 Pittsburgh foundations, the Heinz Endowments, the Pittsburgh Foundation, and the R.K. Mellon Foundation, bought the center out of bankruptcy to preserve its mission and to prevent its redevelopment as a hotel. They're in the process of putting together a new building board, while the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust evaluates the building's assets and condition. And Grant Oliphant is back with us. He's president and CEO of the Heinz Endowments. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Bill, it's great to be here.
Yeah, and I guess great news for this center that opened up with such fanfare, such a signature investment for this community, that it's going to continue with the mission that it was designed for originally.
We're very fortunate, and I think it's important for Pittsburgh to remember this is an iconic building in an important place in downtown Pittsburgh. But it was never really just about the building, it was also about what it represents. And we have a fabulous African American culture and heritage in Pittsburgh that we have an opportunity to keep alive. We have an important role for that building and for the center that it embodied to continue to demonstrate to Pittsburgh and the world that we're a diverse community that cares about all parts of our heritage and our history and our diversity going forward.
And so I guess that's the reason the foundation stepped up to sort of take the lead in figuring this out.
It really matters, and it's not unusual. You know, what I think got lost in the whole debate over what should happen next with that building is there was an unfortunate tendency to sort of write it off because it ran into trouble. First of all, the last 6 or 7 years were brutal for everyone, but they were especially brutal for nonprofit organizations, even more brutal for brand new nonprofit organizations, which the August Wilson Center was. And this is not unusual in the nonprofit arena any more than the business arena for a startup to struggle and need to recalibrate and readjust. So fortunately, we have the opportunity to do that, and we have the opportunity to create an even better future for the center going forward.
And as you looked at it, what really does give you the confidence that there's a there going forward?
Well, you know, because we have so much history, because we have so much interest in the community, in the center and the role that it can play. I'm absolutely confident that the Cultural Trust, the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust, which we've engaged to come in and manage the building for the next 3 years, has the competency to run the building very successfully and manage it well, so that it gets used to maximum effect for the community, but with a strong concentration on African American heritage and culture.
And now will another 501c3 be reconstituted to program the building? Who handles that?
Yeah, so right now the way we've structured this is there's a group that owns the building, and that's the 3 foundations that bought it. We, for the time being, are the board of that new entity, but over time we're going to hand over that board to other people. As soon as some critical, difficult decisions are made in terms of putting things in place like the arrangement with the Cultural Trust. And then we imagine that a second organization will also step in to provide programming for the building, and that is in its earliest stages. There has been a group led by Janera Solomon that fought very hard to save the building, and we're looking to her to figure out what the next step around programming might be. But there are a lot of folks in the community who also want to provide programming for this building, and we imagine that programming will come from all segments of the community. There's so much energy around it, it's impossible not to feel good about it.
You know, it's a beautiful space. I mean, the theater itself, much less the exhibit space, it's a gem of a theater right in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh.
It is, and it's you know, small theaters in general lose money. So you know, the argument that it was losing money never suggested that it shouldn't continue to exist, because theaters do. That's why they're nonprofits. But it's a particularly hard size because it's a small theater. But as a small theater, it also represents an important addition to the cultural district mix. So it's a gem of a facility. As a theater, it's a unique theater in the cultural district. But the building itself is a gem. You know, it has these amazing exhibit spaces. Obviously the performance space, but it was always so much more than a theater. And it's a great place to hold classes, to do education, to hold community events. and we hope it will be all those things and more.
That's really exciting. Only a few seconds left. So what is the immediate next step? Sort of what happens as we move toward the spring?
The immediate next step is we're working with the Cultural Trust now to get the building ready for reopening. They're poring over the building to figure out what work needs to be done because it hasn't been maintained to the level that it would need to have been to stay open, so we have to get it ready to reopen. And then as soon as that happens, then the Cultural Trust will begin filling the schedule, and we'll start working on other programming avenues to bring them along, and hopefully we'll see Chapter 2 launch in a really exciting way.
All right, well, really exciting to see it happen. Break a leg as you move forward.
Thank you.
Brad Oliphant from the Heinz Endowments.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah. Next up, August Wilson was more than one of the most important American playwrights of the second half of the 20th century, a true American master. He was from Pittsburgh, and an upcoming PBS documentary tells his story. We'll get a sneak preview when our region's business returns. Stay with us.